Alright, so yesterday I seeded down alfalfa, lots of it. Ran out of seed, had to go get 7 bags. If you can't hear, I've got a cold. Ran out. These 2 fields, this one and that one, you can't see the one to my right, just a sliver of a field. It used to just be pasture, but we turned it into beans last year. Now I'm going to put it into this particular seed that I bought. I bought this last year. It works good. Not a seed that is supposed to be sown in the spring. It's not usually sown. Usually you frost seed this. You frost seed it and it does good. Or you plant it in the fall. Don't just attempt to spin this on and hope the rain is going to wash it in. This is Timothy, and if you're going to plant Timothy in the spring, you have to roll it in and get it rolled in. Firm that seed up. It has to be up to a 1/2 inch deep, and you'll have no problems. I've already planted it 3/4 of an inch deep. It isn't going to produce much this year, but next year it'll be a beautiful field of Timothy. So I've got 3 fields to do, and you're just going to watch me spin this crap on. From memory, I have it set. So, yeah, 15 to 18 pound to the acre. So I've got it set up that it goes pretty quickly. I don't like sitting there at 4 miles an hour going across all this ground, so I have pretty much over the years devised a way to figure out how much I got going on. But I'll flip the camera around here and I'll show you that it's seated down pretty nice. Now, right where I'm standing, I calibrated right here on this end here. I calibrated the alfalfa yesterday, so you can see that that's where I stopped and didn't get shut off. But you can see, and we haven't rolled it since, so there's a blend of different seeds in here. Like, let's see, right there, you can see the alfalfa and the Timothy. So I'll walk out here and I'm just going to check my work. I got off earlier and checked, you saw that, but what you want is these seeds to be within an inch, like a 1/4 inch of one another. You don't want them to be too sparse, and as you can see them, and I hope you can see them, all those little speckles in there, they are within the desired range. So I'm happy with that. I'd rather have it a little too thick than too thin. Too thin, you get weed encroachment, you get all kinds of things. So you want it to be thicker rather than thin. I'm probably running about 20 pounds to the acre, which is fine. I think you can go up to 25 pound with this. The other thing is, it makes a smaller head, a smaller seed head, which is what some customers want. Personally, I like to see a big, long Timothy head, but that's just not what's going to happen. I'll just park right here. So, yeah, I gotta pee. Give me a second. All right, so that's done. Anyway, last year I seeded down Timothy into wheat, and we had like a month and a half of no rain. And if you don't know, that kills Timothy. Spring planted Timothy, seed broadcast Timothy. So because I'm going to be rolling this in about 20 minutes when I'm done with the other 2 fields, it won't be such a big deal. It'll go right in. I need it to be 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch deep or so, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. And we're supposed to get an inch of rain tonight. Now, it'll come up and do well. The other thing you can do is put it in a grain drill. I will be drilling in Timothy as well this year, just running it in with a drill. But I got orchard grass and Kentucky 31 that's got to go in after this rain goes through. But I got to spray, and in order to do that, it's going to take me a little bit. I really don't want to be any later than now to put Timothy in, so I might just wait till fall on that Timothy and plant it in the fall. What we're doing is we're moving into a better hay crop, so that I have the option to do either mulch hay or do animal quality hay. Not horse hay. I ain't making a fucking horse hay, excuse the language, but it could be used for horses, but it ain't going to be used for horses by me. I'm not doing it. It'll be somebody else. They can buy it and feed it to their horses. It just isn't going to be from me. This will go to a broker and an auction market, so that's where it's going. Also have a place that I've contacted that will buy it directly for a premium. It's got to be really good though. So there you go. That's the deal. I will not have horse people running in and out of this farm. I will not be delivering to horse people. That shit's not happening. I'll be 53 years old. I've been to the rodeo, I've seen the clown, and I'm just not doing it. I mean, the only way that I would do horse quality or horse hay, I'll make horse quality hay, and I've done it many years. The only way that I'll do horse people, deal with horse people, is if, and this is a big if they pay me a premium for it and they have cash in their hand, cash or credit card. I'll run a credit card. I can do that. It's fine. I just use whatever the hell credit card reading app I can find, and there you go. So that's the deal. But I'm not advertising for horses. I mean, this farm is pretty exposed, and they'll see the alfalfa and they'll see the Timothy growing, and they'll probably be knocking on my door trying to get it. Because let's face it, most of the people around here, most of the hay farmers around here, and I'm not saying anything bad about those hay farmers, but they don't plant hay. They just make what grows, which could be fescue. They'll call it orchard grass, but I love it when I know a farm that I farmed had Kentucky 31 tall fescue on it, and they'll mow it early and they'll mow it often, and they call it orchard grass in the newspaper. I think that's funny as hell. The one thing that they don't know is reed canary grass, and they don't bale it. They just brush hog it, which I planted that too, but I don't generally lose farms. What'll happen is you'll plant a place and it'll get sold, and it'll get sold to a friend of a friend who knows somebody who knows a different farmer, and then you're out. And that's happened on several occasions. But you know, it is what it is. So I got to make money in hay, and making mulch hay generally isn't, lately, as of the last 4 or 5 years, has not been a profitable business. Just been a get by kind of business. So now I have to go into the more profitable. I mean, it doesn't change the way I make the hay, it just changes the way I store it and the destination of the hay, and for a little bit more money. All it's got to be is $30 a ton more, and I'm making money. You know, 30 bucks a ton more. But what we've experienced, I've gotten as much as $80 a ton more, so I'll take that any day. So here we go. Alright, so what I'm seeing here is that this has got to be rolled again. So this is what I spun on yesterday. Alfalfa seed is a lot heavier than Timothy seed. You can see it's bigger, it's heavier. You see it right there. And Timothy was supposed to roll this once the long way and then come back across it a second time the opposite way, and I don't think he realized that I was a little disheartening. You know, you have to do alfalfa correctly. Now you see green out here, it's dead. I've already sprayed it, and when you spray out, I sprayed it with glyphosate, and you leave it on there for a day, and then you can destroy it with a piece of iron, if you want to call it that, whether it's a plow or disc or vertical tillage machine like I did. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I see it. I see the alfalfa seed here. This has not been rolled. I ran out of seed yesterday, and I had to go all the way on a Sunday. I had to go to rural King in State College, Pennsylvania, which is over 3 hours away from me. Right? I'm hoping I see the seed. I see the seed. So here's my tracks. Yeah, you can see the seed. They actually said you didn't need to have quite as much on, but I didn't change it. And I had just the same amount, the right amount. Somebody's calling me, so let me answer this phone call real quick. Who is it? It's my wife. Alright, so, queso or queso? Queso. I am rolling out this alfalfa seeding. Let me flip you around here, you can take a look. I'm going across the grain right now. When you seed down alfalfa, it's very important to have good soil to seed contact. If I had a Brilliant seeder drill or Brilliant seeder, which I don't have, I've tried to buy one many times, but they're so expensive. They are really expensive, but I don't have one. So the next best thing is to spin the seed on and then roll it out. Well, because I don't have a land leveler or a land level. What do they call that thing? I think it's called a land level. It's like a land plane. I think it's called a land plane. That would level this thing out perfectly. You have to really, in order to get it pressed in good, you have to literally roll it twice. Once the direction that you worked your ground in and seeded your ground in, and then the second time over you go the opposite way. And as smooth as this field looks, it's not terrible, but as smooth as it looks, it definitely is rougher than you would think it would be. See that? There's a washout there. And because I didn't plow it, we only ran a vertical tillage machine on it. It does not fill those in. So what you do is you go this way and it rolls down the little valleys and ridges and up the other side, pressing that seed into the ground, giving it a place to go anyway. We are going to get an inch of rain tonight. We're supposed to have some thunderstorms and wind and all sorts of stuff going on. We did have a little shower yesterday, which kind of annoyed me last night. It kind of annoyed me because the alfalfa that I planted on this field is a different variety than the other alfalfas up there. It came from a different place, and it had this little coating of stuff on it. They call it nitrix coating. So basically it's the inoculation and probably some calcium. Well, that washed off in a little storm before I could get it rolled in, because I can't roll it until today. So I don't know that it was much of a benefit. I mean, I'm sure the nitrogen or the inoculant is gonna be just fine. It's just I wanted it to be on the seed when it went in the ground, and because it had that shower, and I'm talking a 1/100th of an inch of a rain, you know. It was such a small amount of rain, but it was enough to wash it off. So we'll see what it does. They say that coated seed actually grows better or germinates better and does better than the naked seed, which I didn't plant any naked seed. The first seed that I got, which was lacrosse seed, that had the inoculant on it, but it wasn't a heavy coating of it. It didn't have the calcium on it or the lime on it, and that's in that field there, which I have to roll that one yet today too. And I got one more field of grass that needs to be rolled, and then I will be done rolling this in, and I move into the next place where I'm going to be putting hay. It's a wetter place than this right now. It holds more moisture. It isn't going into alfalfa. It is a new farm that I picked up, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and I got to get it into Kentucky 31 and orchard grass. And I've got another farm that was corn last year, but it's been such a lousy, I've gotten lousy results on it for 2 years in a row, so it's time to cut the corn umbilical cord, as I'm saying, and I'm going to put it back into hay. Some places out here are only good for hay, and some places are just good for nothing, you know. But I've already got $20,000-$30,000 into hay seed already. Not just the seed, but fertilizer and shit like that to get it in the ground. And so I need to get it in the ground. It is March 31st, so we're not quite there yet, to the point where I really absolutely can't plant it anymore. But I like to be able to utilize the April showers, and the Kentucky 31 I can plant just about any time between now and mid-May, which is fine, but I'm going to get it in now. It has to go in now. I'm going to run that through the drill. I'm not going to broadcast that. That's a different story, that stuff. But I got the boys out here picking up rocks. This is a rocky place. Oop. It's a rocky farm, and it's not bad. It's really good piece of dirt. Really good soil here. Very deep. Perfect for alfalfa. Because you could take a track hoe and dig 15 feet deep and still not hit bedrock. There's nothing down there. So that alfalfa will just root right to the ground, right down in there. It'll go about 15 feet deep. And that's really good for when you're growing alfalfa, because when you get into dry spells, if that alfalfa has a deep-rooted system, it will pull moisture up from very deep and keep that plant growing and thriving. So it's really important to have deep soils. We don't have very deep soils at home. You dig down 3-4 feet and you're hitting hard pan shale and stuff like that. So this place over here, there's rocks down there, but they're all in and amongst soil. This is glacial. I forget what the name of the glacier was that deposited this soil here, or pushed this soil up, but this is glacial soil. Quakertown something or other, which, not Quakertown, Pennsylvania, Quakertown, New Jersey. And that's where that glacier, however many million years ago, pushed this soil up. And it's here. But the soil only a couple miles that way is different. It's not nearly as good as this soil. And only a couple 100 yards behind me, and pretty soon in front of me, is different soil yet. There's just a line of it. So if you go that direction a couple 100 yards, on the other side of that fence line over there, that over there is it's just a totally different soil. It's heavy clay, whereas this is a sandier soil, and it's deep. Over there is a fucking quagmire, excuse the language. But yeah, so I'll have this one rolled over twice, and I'll be happy with the seed bed. It looks pretty damn sharp, I would say. Probably if you took a snowmobile across this in the wintertime, you'd be able to go 150 miles an hour without any issues, unless you hit a groundhog hole, which can happen. Yeah, there's another field. That field over there on the other side is part of this property as well. Problem with that one is it's hard to get to. There's a creek in between there, and I would put alfalfa on that, but there's never been a rock picked up off of that place. My grandparents never picked up rocks off of it because my mom wasn't the one picking up the rocks. So that place has got a lot of rocks in it. That field does. Good soil, but it's got a lot of rocks in it. This farm here, the rocks are there, but you know, they just pop up when you deep chisel or something like that, and they rip it. I know when I ripped the fields up there, it really brought rocks up that were very deep, so I stopped ripping. I actually sold that thing. I thought I would do something good, but it just made more rocks. So, but anyway, you're just gonna have to excuse my cold. William gave me his cold that he got from school, so yeah. But she sure does look good, all the way clear up there. It's a long ways. My whole goal with this place is to make those 3 terraces, 3 terraces over there, farm overs, and this terrace behind me that separates these two, I want it to be like the terrace I'm going to go over right now, which is basically a farm over. It's just enough to divert the water, but it's not enough to make it so you can't farm over it. This here part of the farm right now was a pasture, and my uncle said he never did anything with it. I pushed it off and worked it up and planted soybeans the first year, or corn. I think it was corn. Alrighty then. Okay, so we did get the quesos in, at least 2 of them. We got the alfalfa in, rolled it. I was finishing up rolling the Timothy in last night, about 5:30. Was that about 5:30 last night? Yeah, something like that. 5:30 last night, 5:30 last night, and it started to rain. So all the alfalfa got rolled in, all the Timothy got rolled in Everything looks good. We got 1.8 inches of rain in a gauge that was put up after about 3/10 of an inch. So got a little over 2 inches of rain on top of it. And last night at about 9 o'clock, I was starting to get kind of worried, because when you level a field like this, and then you kind of have to worry about runoff and washouts. But we rolled, we VT'd it. We didn't plow. We VT'd it. I sprayed it with glyphosate Roundup, killed off the green, or the cover crop that was there. Even though it was still green when we VT'd it, it was okay, because it had been sprayed a couple days before, a day and a half before that or whatever. So it was translocated, and it'll die. Just isn't going to do any. It's unviable now. So anyways, 9 o'clock last night, I was just like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? This is going to wash all to hell. But we rolled it 3 times after the VT. Rolled it once to level it, put the teeth down and rolled it, and leveled it out pretty nice. Could have done a more aggressive on the teeth, but I decided not to, because it would leave these ridges. It was leaving ridges, and I didn't want to do that. So I guess I could have set the back teeth a little bit higher, and it would have filled them in, but I didn't want to bury the seed when I went over it again twice, because I'd had to go over it twice. You only want your alfalfa to be 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch deep. If it gets any deeper than that, it can't come through the ground and it dies. And we don't want that. We want it to be pressed into the soil, just this tiny little bit. Or the Timothy can go up 3/4 of an inch or so. That's about the maximum depth with that. I've already put Timothy in 1 inch and it came up, but that was kind of worrisome. But it came up with wheat in the fall, not the spring. But I wanted it in deep enough that the moisture would be there, because that's what happens to Timothy. It dies. If you just throw that seed on and it only gets a little root in there, it'll put all its energy into growing a blade. Growing the top, it won't put the energy into the roots. So if you get it in the soil in the spring, it has a higher survivability rate. So that's where we were. So anyways, now it's just a matter of time. In 4 or 5 days, hopefully I see alfalfa popping through the ground. I mean, it's not warm today. Yesterday it was like 70, but today it's not warm. But still, alfalfa pop up and get going. It has the fertilizer on it for this year. Next year will be a little different. I'll have to put, after the first cutting, I'll put some more on. You just got to know how to maintain alfalfa. And it should be there for 5 to 7 years, I think. Some people say 7 to 10, but I don't know, 5 to 7 years before it gets too thin, and then I'll probably plant corn or beans through it then and see how it goes. But anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And you can follow along with this progress as it goes. I'm sure I will be videoing and showing its progress throughout the spring and summer. And you'll get to see lots of things. There's some new stuff coming to the farm specifically for this alfalfa. I can't announce it yet because I haven't gotten the confirmation that this particular machine is going to be coming. But it was something that I spoke to the company about while I was in England twice. Last year and this past year as well. I really like their machine, and I'm hoping that we can come to the agreement and I can feature that machine on the farm in this alfalfa in July. So thanks for watching. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And if you're not subscribed and you'd like to, it's free. It's okay. It's free. Oh, and the one more thing. John Stevens, Maple Grove Farms, sent me a thing on Facebook that I made it into the No-Till Farmer, which is awesome, because on my video that was done on nutrient stratification and cover crops on Ag Talking Raw. So if you're not subscribed to Ag Talking Raw, you can go ahead and do that. That would help as well. Thanks for watching.